Welcome back to the Best Today podcast. This is episode 194, and I am your host, Shantae Grant. Let's get started. Welcome to the Best Today podcast. I'm your host, Shantae Grant, creator of the Best Today Guide and owner of the Best Today brand, where we equip women with resources to help you show up as your best one today at a time. If you're ready to trade chaos, comparison, and busy for intentional living, you are in the right place. We believe that intention begins with first knowing who you are and what you want. Here on the podcast, we'll have conversations together about topics that matter to you on the journey of becoming, because we know that being your best leads to doing your best. So welcome to the podcast created to help women all across the globe proclaim, this is what my best today looks like. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the Best Today podcast. I am your host, Shantae Grant. And if by some chance you missed last week's episode and the announcement, I want to direct your ears back to episode 193, where I shared that at the end of this year, December 2024, when we reach 200 episodes of the Best Today podcast, it will be taking its final bow, because after 7.5 years of podcasting with literally not 1 week missed in there, I am bringing my chapter of podcasting to a close. That's 400 episodes over 2 podcasts over the last 7.5 years. And what I decided to do is, because that means I have 5 episodes in December, and when you're listening right now is in November, 1 more episode this month after this one, I wanted to take time to just talk to you, right? Talk to you, my podcast listening audience. First, I did want to say, if you hear this and you'd like to share anything about the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. You can email us at hello@besttoday.co, or you can go to besttoday.co/voice and leave us a message. I'd love to hear from you about how the podcast has been a help to you, encouragement to you, anything of that, your favorite episode, anything along those lines. Today, I want to talk about a few things that have been on my mind. So this is not fully structured in any particular way. Just a few things that have run through my mind, and I've kind of jotted them down, but none were, I didn't want to make a full episode. So today I've kind of put them together, but they all kind of go together. And the first thing, so as you know, my point of view is after leaving the legal field, like I was a private practice attorney, started my own continued my own company, and have been a business owner in the online world for over a decade now, and have watched how online business, and when I say online business, that's even those who have physical brick and mortars, we all, for the most part, in some form or fashion, use online, whether we use it for marketing, whether we use it for social media, whether we use it for our websites. In some form or fashion, we're online. Whether you have a podcast, right, a blog. And I've watched from my point of view, and probably a little less in recent years, but how that has just transformed, and how it has kind of just grown grown like cancer. And I mean that actually how it sounds, like grown in a way that you don't want to see it grow. It's grown exponentially. And again, I say not as much because I'm not present as there anymore as much as I once was, but I was thinking about the fact that, okay, if you go to YouTube, if you just Google, if you just do a search for, marketing advice or anything like in the online world, you're going to see a lot of the same things regurgitated, but just with a different personality spin on it, right? You're going to hear about all these things that you have to do and that you should do, and how you need this and you need that. And I at one point fell for that and spent more money than I would like to admit on programs to help me do those things, right? I could have literally bought a car for what I paid in coaching, a brand new car to be exact. And I go back and I think about that, and I needed to learn that lesson. So I won't say that was money wasted. Now, if I could do it again, I do it differently. But I do believe that sometimes you do literally pay to learn. And I have learned a lot. And so, but what I was thinking about, I was like, but now it's gotten to a place where I'm wondering if there's this small ecosystem that's been created where success looks so like one thing because y'all are all doing the same thing and getting the same results. And you've called that success, but who says it is? Right? There used to be a time where like six figure was just like this thing thrown out. Like it's just like the cure to all life's ails. And I was just, which to me was kind of comical because I'm started my career in the legal field. Six figures, that term wasn't something that was like, ooh, that impressed me or felt. I've seen what that looks like. And I also have seen people who live miserable lives with multiple six-figure incomes. And so to me, it's like the thing you're leading with actually isn't the thing that I care about. And I know other people do, but actually, if they actually understood and knew, it's not the North Star. And so I've just been thinking like, so if you're listening to this and you're a business owner, one of the things I'm saying to you as a business owner, but of course there's also life in here, is be very mindful of the whirlpools and the ecosystems you're thrusting yourself in and whose advice you're buying into. Because have you defined success as what they've defined success to be? And this is, again, true for life. Or is it that you have not done the work of saying, this is what matters to me and this is what I want, and now I'm going to figure out what works for me that gets me there? And that's the thing I wish if I could tell every small child in the world when people ask them, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wish more people would ask, how do you want to feel? What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of values do you have now? And what kind of values will matter? And not even ask them that, but say, hey, I want you to think about the things you value. Think about what you want your days to feel. What do you want Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays? What do you want these days of the week to feel like? Think about that as you grow up, as you mature, as you age, because you don't even know the answers right now. But as you're living your life, I want you to observe people that have a peace about them, that have a joy about them, or whatever it is that you value, and look and then decide for yourself, what are those things you want in your life? And think about that. And then, because for the most part, we all have to work in some form or fashion, think what kind of work would align with the life I want to live, with the skills that I have, with the things that I do well, or the things that I enjoy, and make that a part of a means to an end as opposed to the whole picture. What do you want to be when you grow up? It makes children and it makes people feel as though that is life. And then you have the weekends. It's like your life, your career, and the weekend. Your career and the weekend. And you see that, and I see that because I get the benefit of working with humans almost every day in my work who have fallen prey to that, who are in that, who are trying to get out of that, who have recently got out of that trap of thinking that this is what success looks like because this is what I've been told. You get a job, you work 9 to 5, 5 days a week, you take the weekend off, trying to rest, trying to do laundry, trying to support friends, trying to do, have brunch, trying to clean up again and then do it all over again. And I'm just like, I don't want to sign up for that. And all of those things have been on my mind and are continuously on my mind because one of the things that I'm trying to do in my life is just to ring an alarm, a loud alarm, and saying, whose version of success are you buying? And you can return it. You can take it back. The return policy is better than Target's, right? You get more than 365 days. You can return this definition of success that you purchased, return it back to sender, and let's pick up one that aligns with what you value. I talked about what you value in episode 191 when I talked about, are you seeing the things that you value? This is why I always have said who you are, what you want, and honor your season. If you can make that the most important work you do first before you make other decisions, it's going to aid you and help you not pick up and buy other people's definition of success. I don't even want you to buy mine, which, looking for the words here. You can't see me. This isn't a recording. I'm so clear on mine because of where mine comes from. But I need you to do that for yourself, right? Because a lot of the things the internet and the world is trying to sell you is that everyone's story should be the same. And that's not true. We're not all the same. We don't all have the same goals. We don't have all the same talents and gifts and abilities. We don't have the same assignments. We don't have the same exact callings to an extent. There are some things that are the same for all humans, right? But if you are constantly looking at one or two people's version and thinking, I have to do the things they did, the steps they took, I have to take all the internet coaches and gurus' advice, I have to do that, I have to do this, and it particularly when it doesn't feel right and sit well within you and the way you want to live your life, you got to say, this isn't work. I've counted up the cost, what it costs to do your version, and it costs more than I'm willing to spend, right? And I say all that because I've just been in reflection about this year. Last year, 2023, was perhaps the most, I want to say, is this correct? I want to say it is the most, I will say this. It had the lowest moment of being an entrepreneur ever for me, which is interesting because I've had, and it wasn't tied to money because I've had years where I made far less, but it was just self-imposed stress that I didn't recognize as that. It wasn't for a long period of time, but when I recognized it for what it was, I realized I don't like this. And why am I worried about this one part of my business, products? I'll tell you what it is. And I don't want to do that. So in 2024, I committed. I am not going to put energy into marketing products. I talked about this a little bit, I think last week when I was talking about product-based businesses. In my view, because of the work that I do, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but for me, selling you a product where you haven't bought in or you're not willing to tap into the soil in which these products were grown out of, if you're not buying into living a life of intention, of prioritizing your well-being and getting clear on who you are and what you want, my products aren't going to last long with you. There's going to be a mismatch. You can use them. Yeah, they're great. They're fantastic. I created them. I believe in them. But it's like you have to hook into the system. It's kind of like, for an example, very well known Dave Ramsey, right? It's like trying to use his products, but also stay in debt forever with no goal or intention. It goes against the heart of what he's created his products to help you to do. Same for me. And so for me, when I think about products, that's why I had this podcast, really, right? It was like, this is a way for people to tap into the ecosystem I'm trying to create so that they get the values, they get the principles, and they have that, and then they attach that and they can bring it to the product. They can come to the community to have real-time support. They can come to the live events when they want to really rally together in person. It all works together, right? It all works together. There's the digital programs where you need to learn this thing and you might want to hear it on repeat, like Right Now Routine, Clean One Room. You have these things. All of that was very intentionally created to surround the customer. And then the encouragement piece are things like the stickers and the shirts and the pins, so that you just have those encouraging messages around you. And I'm not willing to do what it looks like. I'll say that it looks like it takes to sell millions and millions of products. I'm not in a season of life where I have that kind of time. And even if I did, I don't want to do that. I don't want to play on scarcity. I don't want to play on negativity. I don't want to make you feel like you're completely failing at life and my product is like the lifesaver to get you out of the drowning ocean. I'm not willing to do those things, but what I am willing to do 100% of the time is be honest with you, to care for you, and to encourage you with truth and love. And so this year, just 2024, I just personally within myself set out to say, I'm not getting on this. Like, I'm not trying to push these products. Yes, I want them to sell, but that's not my focus and my aim. And it was so amazing how in this year, another part of my business that already existed grew exponentially that I love, that did bring me, excitement and joy, and felt in alignment with working in a way that worked with the season of life I'm in and the time frame that I have. And it has exponentially blessed my business and what I've been able to do. And I'm really grateful for that because I dared to let go of what brought, of the things that stressed me out, really just tried to stress me out. And I also decided I don't have to do things the way that other people say they have to be done. Case in point, this year, we are pulling ourselves away from social media. We post the podcast episodes. Those posts will end in December because the podcast will be gone. And it's just like, the honest truth is, how can I run a business and a company and be a human that tells you live your life off of social media, but also ask you to please come and engage with me on social media? I want you to get off of social media. And so if I want you off of social media, I don't want to create things that make you come and stay here. I don't want to make long lives. If you want a long conversation with me, you got this podcast, you have the community, you have these safer spaces. I don't want you suck I don't want to entertain you with pictures and videos of products and you look at that and then you go off and it has to align. And so for me, alignment looked like pulling from those places where I don't want you. Why am I always spending time in a place where I'm telling other people to go off of? And why am I creating things that keep you there for extended periods of time when I can create my own safe spaces that are far more intentional, that you can tap into and that will pour into you as opposed to deplete you, like the Best Today community, like creating for those on the journey, for those of you who want to read thoughtful, thought-provoking things, or just hear more about what I'm doing. It's a great mix of the two. And so for me, when I made that decision this year, I just feel like it opened up the windows for me to be blessed in a way that I didn't even see, that is still fulfilling now and pouring into 2025 with opportunities. And it's work no one else sees outside of my clients, right? It's not to be seen and to be glamorized, and I don't have to post about it on LinkedIn. I have this and this and that's going on. I was doing that too. And I was like, I don't need to post every time I have this opportunity because it's going to find me most of my corporate work has almost always come from word of mouth. I leave one with someone there going to email or call me for the next opportunity. And that's because I'm fully focused, fully present, doing what it is I am gifted to do. And that's just going to always pour in. And so I want you to take that. This is not a message just for business owners. This isn't even a message this is a message for humans who are living life, to say, stop. Whose rules are you playing by? Whose rule book did you purchase from the store and you're going through checking it off and it doesn't fit? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't work for your life. It doesn't honor your values. It doesn't honor who you are and what you believe in. It doesn't feel good in your body. Why are you still reading that book? Why are you still trying to cram yourself and your life into a book that is not made and written for you, by you, for your good? That is the message. And that is one I am going to continue to proclaim, but also not only for you, but for myself, because I've seen what happens. I've seen what happens when I said, I know I wrote this story that I was going to be an attorney, but this does not fit my life. This does not fit where I want to go. If I'm looking at the people around me, I don't want 1% of their lives. I got out and then I figured it out. I didn't have it all figured out. So I've been doing this and relearning this lesson year after year after year after year. And it's brought me here and I'm just so grateful for it. And I want to share that with you because think you don't have power and control when you do. If everyone stops doing what everyone else is doing, wow. Wow. How much better might your world, your community, your home, and then the bigger picture be? Because now people are actually operating in their uniquenesses and not trying to all play from this cookie cutter online world, just model of this is it. Also, let's consider the source. Consider the source of these people you're looking at. I look at some of the people that people idolize and I'm like, I'm sorry, that person looks unwell, unhealthy, and like they literally hate their lives. And I'm wondering, what part of that are you hungry for?
At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
Hey, it's Audrey, and I just want to say how much I love the Best Today community. We just finished a book club there, and Shantae picked the most thoughtful and intentional book that really matches the Best Today principles. Everyone on there is so encouraging and supportive, including Shantae. She really makes herself a member of the community. She personally celebrates with you and personally answers all of your questions. If you're on the fence about joining and you want to take your life of intentionality and proactivity to the next level, please consider joining the Best Today community. Thank you, Shantae, for all of the amazing products. They really work together, but the community really takes it over the top. Thanks.
Thank you, Audrey, for just being a fantastic bestie. And that's what we call ourselves in the Best Today community. If you are not a part of the Best Today community, consider this your formal invite. If you are a woman who desires to live a life of health, joy, and intention, you can join by going to besttodaycommunity.com. We also have it linked here in the show notes. You can also go to besttoday.co/community. We make it really easy for you to join us. The great thing is you can just join for 1 month, see how you feel. Come join us for a month long of Tuesday talks with me. Join us for our Focus First at the top of the month. Join us for a quarterly planning session. Come in, ask questions, look around. And if you don't find it to be a place that's of value, you can always choose to leave. But I'm going to tell you, our annual subscription is our most popular because people come in and they want to stay because there is such a sense of belonging. And that is the place where I am. That is the place for all things Best Today and where all the exciting things are going to happen first and foremost. So I want to invite you to join us in the Best Today community today by going to besttodaycommunity.com, which again is linked right here in the show notes. Thank you so much again, Audrey. Love you. I offer you permission to get back to what you value, to discover what that is in your life and design a life that breathes that into you. That doesn't mean a life that doesn't have challenges, doesn't stretch you in a good way and challenge you in a good way, but I'm just seeing too many people white knuckling life, trying to fit into this model that someone else has created. Return it back to sender. Return it back to sender. Even if you bought it 7 years ago, return it back to sender. Because you can do things differently. You can do life differently. I can lead a life of peace and joy and impact without feeling like I have to prove something on the internet and without anyone else who's not involved being a witness to it. Because I realize that the perception of success is not success. That other people thinking you are a success is not success. Other people thinking you are anything, generous, kind, and if you're not, you got nothing, right? You got nothing. And those are a few things that have been on my mind. I'm going to likely reflect on this in much more thoughtful. Well, not thoughtful. This is thoughtful. When I say thoughtful, meaning like I'm going to sit down and write. And when I sit down and write, it's very different than when I sit down and talk. I don't have notes that I'm, in bullet points. I'm just sharing with you what has been some things that have been on my mind. But when I sit down to write about it, it'll take me far more time because I'm going to think through the different points and then kind of flesh it out. So I'm sure I'll be writing about this on For Those on the Journey. So if you haven't subscribed, this is the day to do it. You can go to forthoseonthejourney.com. We also have it linked here in the show notes. But those are a few things that have been on my mind, like just being willing to do things differently. In my life, absolutely. But how that translates even in how I do business and how it has just opened things up that allow me to enjoy my season of life, to enjoy my working time, to enjoy the places, people and places I get to be around. I mentioned this in a earlier episode where I talked, I think it was it episode 141? Let's see, episode 140, when I talked about the crowd, the curious and the committed. I am no longer trying to talk to the crowd. I already have stuff that's talking to them. Instagram, podcast episodes, YouTube videos, blog posts. Same for the curious. It is the committed who I am now committed to. And that is within my community and in the spaces and places where the small places where I will be found. And that's what works for me. So this is not saying, hey, do what I do. The principle is I am really clear on who I am. It's unshakable. What I want, and I'm very clear on the season I'm in. And because of that, those are the principles I want you to take because it will look different when you do it, apply it to your life. And building everything on that has made and will continue to make, because I'm so excited about like how this is going to just continue to flourish and progress as I grow in wisdom and just continue on in progressing as a human. But that's the principle. And I want you to figure out what that looks like for your life. And I want you to return to sender all the stuff you've been buying that you know, this isn't it. That's what's been on my mind. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to name this episode because I'm like, I said a lot. Thank you again for listening to the Best Today podcast. Remember, if you'd like to share your thoughts on the podcast, your experience with the podcast over the last 7.5 years, even if you're a new listener, you can go to besttoday.co/voice and leave us a voice message. To continue to stay in touch with me, make sure you subscribe to my Substack For Those on the Journey, which is linked right here. And of course, if you are a woman who desires to live a life of health, joy, and intention, come on over and join my community, the Best Today community. It's our community. The Best Today community. The besties are ready and welcome to welcome you with open arms. It's a great, safe space to be in this world. I will talk to you again on the next episode. Bye for now. This podcast is provided for you every week by Best Today, where we are on a mission to help you to live and work well. We do this by creating resources that bring intention to how you plan, schedule, work, and live. You can get started in one of 3 easy ways. First, by taking our product quiz at besttoday.co/quiz. 2, joining us in our online community, the Best Today community, at besttoday.co/community. Or 3, connect with us through email at besttoday.co/email, all of which are linked below in the show notes. To learn more about our company and what we do, visit besttoday.co and join thousands of customers around the world pursuing a life of intention, one today at a time.